stats and such. And I think MilkiCow is definitely on a very similar level. Anyhow, spawning over in the bottom right-hand side, playing as the Blue Terran, it is MilkiCow.
Representing Team Noob. In the top left side, we're looking at the main base of the man who won the European Pro Tour weekly a little over a week ago in the finals against Clem. It is Mr. Mauer, the ShoWTimE.
That was actually a pretty good series between those two. Like, I really thought... I did the obvious thing, right? I looked at it. I was like, ShoWTimE's definitely going to lose against Clem because Clem's so damn good. And ShoWTimE played out of his mind, actually. Like, it really felt like he stepped it up another level.
What is MilkiCow doing with that SCV out on the map? Is he going for a Benjamin Baker special, or what's happening?
You mean, what you on about? How dare you paint this picture of me being some crazy cheeser? I played against you, Kevin. Proxy third Nexus, no scout. Like, oh, don't paint me bad, Kevin.
I mean, every time I open your stream, I see the boys are making their way to the other side of the map after a proxy barracks. And it's like, how many times can Benjamin win with this build? And then I see you just kill Protoss after Protoss. You think it's going to be a tech lab on the proxy barracks for a couple of Marauders early on?
I would not be surprised. Like, ShoWTimE, from seeing this, seeing the second depot going up, he's already most likely going to be feeling, okay, this is a little bit weird, because he did go in correct and scout the one gas. Didn't see the second gas at all, but he's good enough to know that something must be awry with this. Oh, dude, this brings me back to Wings of Liberty. Do you remember when people were doing this? When like Marauders would spawn with concussive shell? This was, yeah, this is actually very weird of MilkiCow to be doing this.
Yeah, it's gonna get scouted though. ShoWTimE wouldn't be ShoWTimE if it didn't feel like something fishy was up, and this is a massive scout because now ShoWTimE will know to get some batteries up in the natural and make sure to not get too greedy and get a few gateway units out early on as well. Yeah, little adventurous for MilkiCow to try to do this in game 1. I don't hate it, but I would have preferred to see it in game 2. I know that doesn't make that much sense. But I feel like in game 1, just kind of play standard, do your thing, and then try to catch him off guard in game 2 rather than open up with something like this. When I feel ShoWTimE is probably going into this best of 3 and it's like, young Terran, he's probably going to try to cheese me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the fact that he went for it. Like, Romanticide, it's a very good map for getting your, like, 3-base setup, which is kind of what Protoss want to get up and going. So it is kind of tricky in that sense, but... yeah, going for the reactor afterwards, like back at home, it just slows the whole process down if you ever want to bring those Marines across the map. And MilkiCow arrives and it's like, well, yeah, I'm behind now. What do I do with this?
Apparently we're going to scout with the barracks, or is he going to land it at the terror to make it a bit harder for ShoWTimE to go up to 3 bases, or maybe force him to expand towards the center? And look at the MilkiCow at home. So the way that he's going to try to catch up economically is by playing triple CC behind this, and that I don't hate. I've said it before, I was so impressed by his late game ban. He looked so damn good. Like 9-10 minutes into the game, he was dropping a lot, but not with all of his units. He was always safe and sound at home, kept macroing, kept expanding. This kid is actually really good in the late game, and I hope that we get to see it.
I also think MilkiCow is pretty good, actually, but I don't, like, even though I agree that he had to do something like this with a 3cc kind of follow-up, it's obviously not a good position when everything gets super scouted. And, you know, your barracks is, well, it's in this position, Kev. It's in your opponent's base and not really getting too much done. It gets you a bit of scouting information, which is great. He's just got to hope that ShoWTimE doesn't just barrel ahead, just use all his chrono boost on probes and stuff. But ShoWTimE is definitely respecting this quite a lot, like getting the shield batteries and stuff. He's obviously not super comfortable. So, yeah, I think it's kind of paying off weirdly.
I'm a bit surprised to see indeed that shield battery at the start. It feels a little unnecessary, and ShoWTimE is going to see that it was unnecessary once the hallucinated Phoenix makes it into the main base of our Russian Terran player. Oh, MilkiCow trying to intercept the scout. I mean, cool move. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. And well, ShoWTimE is already 12 workers ahead, and I'm afraid that number is just going to grow for a little while longer.
I love ShoWTimE's reaction, Double Forge going down. He's like, well, I've got all the freedom in the world. I think he even saw the tech lab as well. on the factory there, so he even knows that it's not going to be like Widowmine crazy. He's playing. Oh no, he actually didn't get to see the add-on, but yeah, ShoWTimE's in a great position, and it's so gnarly, right? Like MilkiCow is one shot away from denying all that info, and actually maybe being in a good position despite everything happening.
Yep. Now, I have seen ShoWTimE a few times be a bit stubborn in this matchup too, where you've got a great start and you've got a big army, but then he can get stuck on Zealots and Stalkers for a while, which is not bad as long as you're winning. But if you take one bad fight against a massive ball of bio units, then that advantage can disappear real quick too. So it is important for ShoWTimE to maybe transition if he has the chance. And yeah, he's not going to be stubborn this game. He's already taking his gases. He's going up to 6 gas and a Robo Bay. Kind of like everything that ShoWTimE has done in this month.
Yeah, the one thing I want to see from ShoWTimE is that he isn't too hesitant about taking a fairly greedy fourth, because he doesn't have to worry for quite some time, right? And very often I'll see him on, like, let's say 66 probes, and his fourth base is just uber-duber late. But he is throwing down a lot of gateways here, the Warp Prism as well coming out. Maybe he's going to try and hit like some kind of 1-1 timing with all this, but I think the best move is just getting a fourth Nexus, man. He doesn't need to worry about anything.
I wouldn't warp in too many gateway units early on if you don't have to, because it is it's very tempting. You've got double forge, you feel like you've got a great economy, you're like, cool, let's go 20 zealots. But it's so easy to take a bad fight against well upgraded bio units, and we all know how that dynamic works by now. I think Zealots and Stalkers can be very good against bio if the bio ball isn't that big, right? If we're talking 30, 40 supply, you can absolutely swarm it in a Zergy kind of way. But once we start reaching like 60 or 70 supply of bio, yeah, then you probably want to have a couple storms with Colossi. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard to come out victorious in a fight.
Love these pylons on the edges of the map, and that turret just a moment too late here. MilkiCow kind of sniffed that this could be a possibility with his setup. And these Zealots, they're going to start going ham, and this is already more of, well, this is definitely what ShoWTimE wanted. Even though it's just a couple of SVs, that's quite a lot of lost mining, and ShoWTimE just feeling comfortable.
Yep. And I do think we know what the man is capable of once the Dark Shrine finishes up. For a while, we got really excited. We're like, wow, Shadow Strike, Blink DTs. But Fear Dragon knew all along that this was going to be the gold standard one day. I mean, sure, we had to make it a bit cheaper and it took less long. But hey, we are here now. And I think often Protoss players truly start running away with games if they have the proper 4 or 5 base setup. 10 plus gateways. It is so hard for Terran players to keep their planetary fortresses alive if one moment you're looking in the center of the map because you don't want to walk into a storm or a Purification Nova. The next second, 10 Dark Templars blink on your planetary. And if by the time you switch over or pan over to that side of the screen, well, it's too late. The PF will go down.
ShoWTimE did kind of fall for the trap, though, that I think he often falls into in this matchup, is transitioning to that fourth base. A, it was a little bit later than it should have been. And B, if we look at the work account, like, he could have been quite a bit further ahead. Like, his tech could have been further ahead and everything. He just very safe. It's almost like if I could go to ShoWTimE and just play a little bit more shameless here, because you can get away with it. So it feels like there's still that fear in him about worrying about this attack coming. But we knew as soon as that third was going down that it wasn't going to be happening for a while. So almost too respectful by ShoWTimE, and all of a sudden, yeah. I'm not super disliking MilkiCow's position.
Yeah, I'm with you, but it's still going to be hard to keep 4 bases safe once ShoWTimE has the Dark Templars with Blink. And maybe in ShoWTimE's defense, Benny was a bit worried about like a sort of something that looks like a 3 base, but then they just attack you the moment they have Stim, Combat Shield, 1-1, and even pull 25 SCVs. And it becomes a bit hard to keep 4 bases alive at that point. So I can understand it, and I don't think like ShoWTimE has really dropped the ball. But he does need to be careful. This is definitely not the kind of game where you can start getting super reckless, because he's not as far ahead as we thought he was going to be.
Yeah, it slows down everything, right? Like, you take that fourth later, then this fifth is very fast, but this is kind of the time when ShoWTimE's a little bit weak at this point in time. So it just kind of throws everything out of whack.
Right side, there are 2 Vikings getting on top of the Prism, and there is a missile turret there too, but this Prism has the speed upgrade, so it's so damn quick, and it's still gonna squeeze into the main base. MilkiCow was clearly thinking about this, but he couldn't stop it from happening. At the same time, the armies are getting dangerously close to each other on multiple sides of the map. I feel like we had a slow start to this game, but all hell is about to break loose.
It certainly is. MilkiCow doing aggression everywhere, actually. He does cancel the 5th base, which was really cool. Cleans up these DTs in the main as well. They do try and blink away. But they're all shut down. Actually, pretty nice defense by both of them, all things considered.
The army out on the map didn't get much done for MilkiCow other than that cancel, I guess, on the left side, but did lose 10 SCVs at home. Was a bit unfortunate because he had such a good idea of that War Prism coming without even seeing it. Just sent the Vikings over there, even had a safety turret in the natural. But there's always that little spot in the main base where the Prism can still squeeze in. And even if ShoWTimE didn't do a devastating amount of damage, it bought him a lot of time. And he used that time to now get his army on the bottom side of the map. It's a bit awkward, and I bet MilkiCow's a bit surprised to find his army here. But here we are. ShoWTimE does need to be a little bit careful, because I don't see too much splash damage in his army.
No, I mean, it's those Colossus, and that's about it. And he's not going down the Disruptor route, although he does have 3. But where are they? They're just back at home? Okay, one set is... Okay, yeah, okay, now they're joining the fray, and he's getting ready. Okay, this is when a Protoss starts feeling very comfortable, actually. When it starts getting to this situation, they've got the big upgrades coming. They can attack on one side, DTs on the other. Look at this, DTs just run past this turret being made.
MilkiCow even working on +2 ship weapons already. I'm kind of happy to see that. I feel like it's something that Terran players often forget about if they feel like they've been a bit behind, but it will make the Liberators down the line so much more powerful, and obviously gives the Vikings a little boost too to potentially deal with these Colossi. The macro of the young Terran has definitely been on point, Ben. Has not fell behind. He's actually been out-mining ShoWTimE for the last few minutes in this game. Dropping the fusion core, dropping the additional command centers. I gotta say, there is something refreshing about seeing an up-and-coming and a Terran underdog still willing to play games like this.
Very refreshing, actually. Like, he's not scared, right? I felt this a lot about the youngsters. They feel no fear, Kevin. They really don't. And for a Protoss, it's not super often that you go up against a Terran doing this kind of stuff. And you start to get it in your head. You're like, well, what do I do now? Because, like, you know, you don't practice against it a lot. And that could actually be playing in MilkiCow's favor here.
Why didn't we fight? Why didn't we trade? And why are you not trying to kill me? Like, do you think you're Maru or something, you know? If this was Maru, we'd be like, oh yeah, this makes sense. Maru, god of the late game. But MilkiCow clearly quite comfortable playing the later stages of a TVP. It's not going to be easy. He's going to have to be paying attention all the time, because there will be a storm around every corner. Disruptors will always be looking for those great Novas. But I still think it's cool to see, and it really does. This is great practice for MilkiCow, right? Even if it doesn't work out, if you keep practicing to play like this, you're going to have a very, very intimidating late game a couple months down the line.
Absolutely, absolutely, because it's not easy to pull off either. Like, that's the big scary thing. It's not easy to do, and that's why a lot of Terrans shy away from it. You have to be looking everywhere very carefully. And the thing is, ShoWTimE hasn't even reached his final form yet. We have 3 more Stargates producing, Fleet Beacon on the way. He's actually getting armor upgrades on the air units as well right now. I guess that's because he's already up +1 and doesn't have the Fleet Beacon yet.
Nova's looking for connection. ShoWTimE's going to send another Nova forward to save his one Disruptor. It does not save it, but he does take off quite a few buy units. But that's not even that bad for MilkiCow, because MilkiCow's okay with losing a few Zealots and Marines and Marauders, so he can replace those units with more Liberators, maybe Vikings, and more Ghosts.
Yeah, certainly. Like, ShoWTimE's doing everything right, though, isn't he? Like, he's just making this very, very difficult for MilkiCow. And honestly, I don't think he's going to be able to keep up this 5th base for too much longer without being torn apart somewhere else. And that's exactly what ShoWTimE's going for. But MilkiCow, man, he is doing everything possible to hang on here.
Yeah, the Liberator is unfortunately not out, because I think he wouldn't struggle keeping this PF alive if he just had 3 or 4 Liberators in the mix. Now it's going to be a bit harder. ShoWTimE really wants it, and ShoWTimE gets it. Use the Novas there, not necessarily for the connections, but just to zone the buy units away to allow the rest of the Protoss army to deal damage on that planetary fortress. But ShoWTimE also knows that this was a bit more doable since there were no Liberators yet. The next time these armies clash, Ben, you're gonna see 8-9 Liberators trying to make justice rain from above.
Yeah, and even though MilkiCow, like, his one job here is turtling, ShoWTimE's still managing to find damage here, there, and everywhere. And ShoWTimE gets a big pounce on here, but he is kind of caught in a bit of an anti-concave here, and MilkiCow does send him home packing.
Yeah, but look at the Zealots and the Stalkers on the bottom side of the map, though. They have reached this location. The bunker is down. The tanks have fallen. So ShoWTimE, yeah, he lost a couple of expensive units at the top. He's going to kill another command center and has also taken down 22 SCVs while all of this was taking place. And if MilkiCow was sitting on 5k, I'd say not a big deal. But Ben, he's sitting at 150 supply and broke as a joke. So then this is absolutely hurting for a Terran.
Yeah, and the thing is, ShoWTimE, he's not slowing down. Like, he could just keep on ramping up. And right now, that probe count is very healthy. He's making it even more healthy. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts mining those really, really hard to get bases that should belong to the Terran, like the top right base and what have you.
ShoWTimE is going to try to make magic happen with the Dark Templars. The PF is not done yet. I love the position where he blinked them. But yeah, since it wasn't done yet, we can actually lift it. So sure, we lose 9-10 SCVs and the command center is very low on HP. MilkiCow does keep it alive, but now he needs to worry about the big Protoss army too that's in the center. And while all of this is taking place, those Stargates are now up and running and the first carriers are on the way. I love the ambition of MilkiCow to play a game like this, but ShoWTimE is showing us that he's not just your regular guy on the ladder, and he too knows how to play the late game.
Oh, he certainly does, and he's doing really well, man. Like, even though these DTs aren't always trading out efficiently, this is very helpful for ShoWTimE, just making MilkiCow busy constantly. Because, yeah, even though MilkiCow has lost more resources this game, as he should, ShoWTime's just scaled up and up. And by the way, I do love the fact that PF wasn't finished yet, and he just lifted up, because it felt like a got ya kind of situation. But ShoWTimE is marching down, and this is a pretty difficult location. Oh, nukes coming down as well. What a game.
Yep, in the top left side, ShoWTimE obviously needs to pay attention to his armies, using a couple of storms to keep the bio at bay and even a Nova to connect with a few of these Marauders. ShoWTimE has found the nuke and he's pulled the probes away, so other than a few cannons, he's not losing too much to it. I'd love to see MilkiCow buy enough time for himself to potentially max out. I think that'd be really fun, that'd be exciting. ShoWTimE needs to be careful with his army. It seems like he wasn't paying attention, Ben. A couple of big EMPs went down. Most of the Liberators have been taken out. 1 or 2 Novas did connect with the bio units, but not a bad fight at all by the Russian Terran. But I am going to worry about the carriers, because these carriers are going to make things a little more complicated for him.
Carriers and remaxes, you know, like MilkiCow, he's out of gas after this. Like, he's down to 65 workers. That is a huge remax by ShoWTimE, but is it going to be enough? And yeah, it certainly is. And that is a low-tech army by ShoWTimE, but just the brute force of it, really. And he's got a lot more money to spend. These nukes, I mean, this one might be a little bit too cheeky, just a little bit.
I think it would have been hard to find the red dot, but it's kind of annoying that the ghost ran out of energy, so it was no longer a cloud ghost. ShoWTimE still looking pretty fine here with his 88 probes. He's maxed out. The carrier count went up to 5. Losing all those disruptors, that's got to sting a little bit, but it seems like he's not too concerned about it.
So he scanned, did MilkiCow scan that far left base just then? I think he did, right? So he's like, oh, do you have that base? He's seen the 2 gas at the bottom left base. This poor ghost is just, it spots it. Just start throwing down a nuke down there in the bottom left-hand side. I mean, MilkiCow, I tell you, this is kind of what I expected from him, where he just fights, you know? Like tooth and nail, right to the bitter end. But,
and now he's even going to start being annoying, Ben, with Liberators on the top side. Obviously, Libs with advanced ballistics is very hard to deal with. A few Stalkers often won't get it done. You're going to need to build a Void Ray with Flux Veins or some Phoenixes to take care of those Liberators.
Yeah, he doesn't know about the carriers yet, right? Like, that's the big ace card here, which ShoWTimE hasn't revealed. And honestly, MilkiCow, he hasn't been able to get higher than this supply, even though he's got the minerals to do it. He wants the tech, and carriers have been shown. Then it's a scan. It's like, oh crap, that's quite an air armada you've got.
And then you click on it, and you're like, uh-oh. +2 attack, +2 armor. I was like, okay, those are some pretty feisty carriers. But hey, Liberators can do all right against carriers. If you just A-move with them, they're pretty good in taking care of the interceptors. And if the carriers have no interceptors, well, who cares how much HP they have? They won't do any damage.
It's just everything else he's got with it too, right? Like, this is a scaring ass army. It's got high Templars, disruptors, has to lift and run away. I do question how MilkiCow's going to try and deal with this. We have a lot of ghosts being produced, more bio. Oh, it's going to be very problematic for the young Russian.
It's very hard, but if ShoWTimE makes a boo-boo with the carriers and the interceptors clump up and the liberators just kill it, I mean, then there is absolutely a chance. The liberator count is not crazy high at this point, but the carrier is getting a little ahead of the rest of the army. It means ShoWTimE is going to lose a lot of his interceptors immediately.
That carrier DPS against these no armor air units, though, that was absurd how fast those liberators died. And ShoWTimE, he's still harassing. How many SCVs? 100 SCVs have been killed this game so far. Like, that is insane. That just shows how much MilkiCow has been under pressure.
And it also shows how many SCVs he's built, because he still has 65. So that is definitely a compliment to the macro of the Russian tool. But I gotta say, it's impressive for ShoWTimE to find all this damage, because this is Romanticide, one of the better turtley maps, if you ask me. And I've seen Protoss players in the past often just get very bad trades for a while. You run in 20 Zealots, you kill a few SCVs. You run in 10 Dark Templars, you kill a few. Yeah, these carriers have no respect for the missile turrets at all. And unfortunately, MilkiCow just can't continue doing this. GG. ShoWTimE wins a 21-minute game. I love what MilkiCow was doing, but it still wasn't that close, because ShoWTimE is just incredibly good and he knew the right move to make every step of the way.
So that game started off with a scouted Proxy Rax Marauder with a Reactor Rax at home. Then he turned into a Scout Rax, went 3cc. He still made a good game out of it, honestly. And he's up against a Titan in ShoWTimE. I like a lot of the moves MilkiCow is doing. He does play a type of TVP that is incredibly hard to master, though. And you definitely can't play it from behind like he was. But he was doing it very well, Kevin. I'm not surprised that you like his style, because those nukes, you don't play against them a lot. You don't play against late game Terran a lot. Like, if he's one of the only guys doing it, like, he gets so much more practice than Protoss do against this kind of style.
Yep, and I even love that he's still using Liberators in the late game too to harass, because often I feel like Terrans have their advanced ballistics and then they don't use it. I'm like, carriers is not a good way to deal with this, because they're super slow. And we all know that Protoss players just love to warp in a couple of units to deal with a problem. You can't do that either. And you could see that he was starting to find some damage. I think he made the best of a game that just wasn't really working out from the beginning. And it was a bit sad, because a few times it felt that he was almost right where he wanted to be, right? It's like 6-7 Liberators, a few more in production, and then ShoWTimE is like, bam, kills 4 Liberators. And then we had to rebuild over and over again. I still think it was a pretty entertaining game.
I mean, it was. If a Protoss on 3-3-3 upgrades, it's not often you see +3 plasma shields upgraded, given it's 400. Like, that's like as expensive as a mothership, you know? But really? Yeah, it's incredibly expensive.
400? That doesn't sound right to me.
I think it's 200, then 300, then 400, I swear.
I'm gonna have
to look it up, Kevin? Oh, you're making me nervous. I felt so sure about this. Like,
you're gonna tell me +3 plasma shields cost 800 resources, man. Doesn't that sound a little unreasonable to you?
I mean, it benefits absolutely every unit in your arsenal, Kevin, along with your buildings. It sounds incredibly reasonable to me, okay?
800 resources for an upgrade, man. Think about that. Like, I haven't double-checked it, but that doesn't sound right.
Mate, all I'm saying is, your tier 2 upgrades and tier 3 upgrades are like some of the cheapest on the Forge, you know? Like the weapons and the armor, but they benefit like almost the most units, you know? Like you've got... in fact, they do benefit the most units, and they're some of the cheapest. But the shield, man, it's super expensive, Kev. You should know this.
Yeah, 250. I will get on board on 800 resources.
Wait, sounds 250 for tier 3 shields?
Yeah.
No, Kevin. It's 300.
Yeah, Vardy just confirmed. I wanted to let everyone wait until the break.
All right.
Anyway, let's go, Ben.
250, then 300. All right.
We're a minute in. They're like, introduce the players, please, guys. In the bottom left side, we are looking at the main base of the Russian Terran player. He's down 0-1, but gave us a pretty solid game 1. It is MilkiCow.
Still bloody expensive. Anyhow, spawning over in the bottom or top right-hand side of Oxide, playing for Team Big, it is ShoWTimE.
Yeah, 300 is quite expensive, but it's not 400.
Dude, I swear that the shields was more expensive than the Carapace upgrade.
I believe that. I mean, 500 resources for an upgrade is a lot. Let's get that out of the way. Especially if
certainly
you
is a lot.
take into consideration that a single EMP will wipe away all those resources.
You know, Kevin, you are on fire because you know a disruptor shot will just wipe out all my upgraded units, regardless. You know, in fact, no, you're not gonna. I'm not coming down to this level. All right, I'm not coming down to this level.
That's my strategy, Ben. I drag you down to my level.
You know, I've tuned into your stream, Kev, where it's the Terran Army is better than. I hear it every freaking day, and I'm like, God damn it! What is this false propaganda over here on the Rotterdam stream? Like, mate, it is obviously built up in me. I am furious, Kevin.
You guys leave me no choice. You know, I tune in the morning and I hear Protoss is unbeatable from you. Then I watch Gabe in the evening and Protoss is unbeatable there. I'm just restoring some order in the universe. That's my duty.
It's a good duty to have, Kevin. It's a good duty to have. Dude, I don't know why. I'm still... I need to find... How did I not know the plasma shield thing? I still think it's 400, man.
Let it go. We've got a Twilight Council going then. Let's talk about that as Game 2 takes place on Oxide. MilkiCow is switching things up. No proxy barracks this time. It is going to be a reactor on the barracks once more, though. Well, we've got a factory and a starport going up in his main base. Not a proxy starport, but maybe like 2 Hellions into some mines. See.
I think this is just going to be like a 3 Hellion drop, but see, this Phoenix coming back and seeing the second Hellion pop out, like, then you know exactly what you're up against, you know, and it's just going to stay alive for just long enough here. And he's like, okay, that's what you're up to. So ShoWTimE just has to know that he plays defensive, has Stalkers in the right positions and what have you.
But he's also still going to try to go up to 3 bases by the looks of it. No, he's just going to build the pylon first. Because I feel like if he goes up to 3 bases now, what MilkiCow could do is use his Marines and send those to the other side of the map. The Marines attack the Nexus, drag some units out of position, and then there could be an opening for the Medevac and the Hellions.
Nice early third for ShoWTimE. Like, not ridiculously greedy or anything like that. It's just nice. This game, though, everything is looking fairly standard. Besides this Medevac drop with the Hellions. Oh, I love the fact that he's going for a fakie here.
He is going for a fakie, but ShoWTimE wasn't born last night. Kept a couple of units in his natural. I'm a bit sad that we didn't try to get any value out of the Marines. We have a reactor on that barracks. The Marine count is decent. Because imagine if you would fake the Medevac drop while sending the Marines to attack this Nexus. Then ShoWTimE's units probably do move out of position. And maybe the Hellions could have found a way into the natural.
Yeah, definitely. ShoWTimE's just played very solid here, though. And MilkiCow, while he's tried to do something a little bit, I don't want to say super off meta or whatever, but it's definitely a little bit weird. Now he's resorting back to... In fact, this feels very much like a Gabe opening. Oh no, that tank's blocked, Kevin. Okay, now it's not blocked anymore, but still, that was definitely some lost building time right there for MilkiCow, and he couldn't do anything about it for a while.
I missed it. I was looking at the hallucinated Phoenix going down, and I was wondering, how expensive do you think charge is, Ben?
100?
Ah, yeah. I was like, maybe that's 300 in your mind, too. It's very good. It benefits every Zealot.
I mean, it should be 300. That's all I'm saying. So, apparently, what I'm reading here is Shield in Brood War is 400, Kevin.
I don't know Brood War economies, mate, so I don't know if that's
I'm just saying, you know, were we necessarily talking about StarCraft 2? You know,
yeah, we kind of were. Kind of what we do here. At least most of the time, guys.
Most of the time, you know. Anyhow, you know, I died on that hill, and I was wrong, but I was right somewhere in the world, you know. That's all I'm gonna say.
Of course. So MilkiCow is gonna try to get. I'll let you have it, Ben. I mean, I find that actually a bit surprising. I just don't know Brood War, so I didn't know that was a thing. But that sounds a bit crazy to me. Yeah, then again, the completely different game, right? So maybe it makes sense.
Completely, yeah. I mean, they have freaking vultures that cost 75 minerals that can lay like 3 Widow Mines. It's ridiculous.
I've seen them. I've heard Artosis say they're not good because they're not a Protoss unit, but that's about all I know.
Of course. Oh, wow. So ShoWTimE, this game, This is. I know that he's kind of worried about this tithing attack from MilkiCow, and that is a lot of upgrades that are lining up, like the Stim, the Comet Shields, and the +1. But yeah, I definitely feel this is the one section of his gameplay where I do worry about him a little bit, just because it feels like it ramps up very good. He's very defensive, but then it's almost overly safe. But we'll see what these storms can get done.
And that observer is so useful, by the way. It's going to keep track of the Terran army. You have to be so careful here, MilkiCow, because a lot of his bio units were clumped up. He's utilizing the Raven. Potential. Oh, War Prism gets shot by the Widowmine, but it does not go down. So the Raven is going to drop a couple water turrets behind the mineral line of the third and maybe into the natural too. And we do have shield batteries. Meanwhile, MilkiCow is setting up the triple drop that's heading towards the main. I think the observer of ShoWTimE saw it, but he's not reacting to it yet, Ben.
No, I mean, like, the War Prism will arrive, and I mean, it's wounded, but, you know, storms, they can make short work of this army. I like how MilkiCow set all this up, and he gets a little bit of damage done. But, you know, if that Raven was with his army, and he just put, like, an interference matrix on that Warp Prism, could have been very scary for ShoWTimE.
Absolutely, because then I feel the remaining bits of the armies actually favors the Terran player there. And it's such a shame he didn't see that observer. I love that observer from ShoWTimE. It gave him the information where the Terran units were, and it also allowed him to take out that forest mine. Because one of the worst things that could happen for a Protoss is that multiple fights take place, the mines fire, but you don't kill the mines. Because then the minefield is going to snowball out of control, and Zealots are going to have a very difficult time in being effective. But that one ShoWTimE is absolute cash money for... or one observer is absolute cash money for ShoWTimE.
Yeah, the supplies are incredibly close at this stage in time. And that Raven, it's still alive. So it planted all those turrets, got out of there as well, and now it's got enough energy to throw down, well, you know, an anti-armor missile or something that could be quite gnarly. It's still kind of anyone's game, even though I like the setup that ShoWTimE's found himself in. He's getting incredibly far forward, and that Raven now rendered useless.
Double Widowmine does get a connection on those Zealots, so a few Zealots do go down. ShoWTimE, I don't know if you want to leave the safety of your shield batteries and your immediate reinforcements. It's a bit tricky for ShoWTimE to keep track of that army after he lost that one observer to that Raven. I like the pace that MilkiCow is pushing. Does he have a well-protected third? He kind of does. ShoWTimE is going for a run-by on the other side of the map, but we left a couple of Widowmines behind. We've got a bunker. And this is all quite solid stuff that MilkiCow is showing us. He may not be winning this game, but I don't hate what he's doing.
No, certainly. Like, even though he lost a few workers here, he's still got a very healthy worker count. He's landing his 4th base as well. Going for the little cheeky EMPs here with his scan. Like, I mean, he's got... This is a nice split by ShoWTimE, by the way, with his High Templars, because he is being the wall right now. He's making it very hard for MilkiCow to do anything. The only thing I'd love is a shield battery over at that location.
Yeah, maybe he had one before. No, he never had one. He's feeling confident with just his cannon and spacing the units out a little bit. MilkiCow now already dropping a 5th and 6th command center and the fusion core. ShoWTimE is going to try to drop the main base, but that War Prism took a beating from the Widowmine earlier, and there are turrets keeping the main base safe. So yeah, ShoWTimE is like, that's probably not the way to go. What happened to all the ghosts? Did all the ghosts just get feedbacked?
I have no idea, honestly. I was like, maybe they got neurals, you know? I'm like, no, Ben, he's against Protoss here. But yeah, like, absolutely crazy play, crazy defense, and that poor Zealot on a hill. Have you ever seen anything more satisfying?
Just leave it there.
Yeah, wasted supply.
The army's getting a bit close to each other. No cancel on the Nexus on the right side. So MilkiCow, even without his Ghost and his Liberators, is finding a little bit of damage with his bio units. And yeah, I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but I just like the way the youngster plays. He's playing a game like he would against anyone that he is supposed to beat. Instead, he's going up against arguably the strongest Protoss in Europe. And I don't want to say ShoWTimE is in trouble, but he's definitely making ShoWTimE work for it.
Yeah, I mean, anybody watching this that didn't know MilkiCow before this, well, you absolutely should do now. I mean, like, he is playing really good, and he's doing some late game, no fear Terran here, which is super nice to see. And we do actually see that he's going into that Liberator Ghost comp again, except this time he isn't super behind. Like, this is wonderful to see. I'm looking forward to see what he does with it.
I like that we have a couple of random mines too in the center of the map. All 4 of the mines that he's got set up there just fired. It's not super important, but it's kind of annoying for ShoWTimE because you're like, oh. You're like, I'm getting hit from every angle, and I don't want to be dealing with this. MilkiCow sends forward a few Marauders. Those will fall rather quickly. This Warp Prism needs to be careful too. It somehow avoided the mines in the top side.
And for ShoWTimE, like Oxide is one of the more difficult maps. I can't believe that this Widowmine is just bruising up his entire army. That is a juicy anti-armor Marcel if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, but I think MilkiCow wants to wait until +2 ship weapons is done. And I'd love to see that, right? Because the wombo combo of a couple EMPs over the Protoss army and then +2 Liberators, that's massive. It'd be a shame to take a fight right before that upgrade kicks in.
Yeah, ShoWTimE's shaving off a bit of his Zealot squad here, which I don't dislike at all. We do see immediately on the production tab, he's getting some more juicy units like Disruptors. And opening up the avenue here with the rocks, I like that. And if you're wondering at home, why is +2 air weapons such a big deal? Means the Liberators can then 2-shot Stalkers. If they get EMP'd, 1 shot, meaning the Stalkers are useless.
Yep, they will melt. And obviously Stalkers will still take up quite some supply. After ShoWTimE lost the Zealots, he's like, all right, let's try Cloaked Zealots instead. We're going to warp in a couple of DTs in the bottom right. This is a pretty well protected planetary. I wouldn't hate it if MilkiCow would just leave 1 Liberator sieged up on top of this planetary and obviously have more than 1 turret.
Yeah, certainly. And look at this, multiple Ghost Academies coming down. I like this a lot, Kevin. This is very hard to pull off, but this can have you as a Protoss sweating, because honestly, I see a lot of people react very good to nukes. I am probably not one of those guys, because I very rarely play against nukes and Protoss players. Look at this. This Protoss army is getting very battered and bruised, just running through mines all the time.
Yep, 1 mine and an EMP, and ShoWTimE ends up losing half of the HP on all his Stalkers and lost a couple Stalkers. Blinks forward there, needs to be careful. I think he's hoping to shebait MilkiCow into chasing his army and then land a few big storms or Purification Novas.
You know what this feels like? It feels like MilkiCow went into this series. It's like, you know what? I'm going up against ShoWTimE. I don't think I'm going to necessarily win, but I'm going to practice my late game TVP and we'll see how it goes. And he's impressing me a lot, actually.
This planetary is gonna go down though, but we do have another command center that could morph into a planetary. Solid attack here by ShoWTimE. I just wish we would have left 1 Liberator behind, Ben. We've got so many libs. And there was a lib technically chilling there. Just wasn't really doing anything.
I love it when you leave a couple of Widowmines like on the mineral side of the PF, because then you can't blink in and do that crazy stuff. It makes it so difficult for the Protoss.
ShoWTimE looking for openings. He's probably wondering, like, what the hell is this crazy Russian Terran player doing? Why is he never attacking the Novas? Gotta be careful. Good split, man. Really good split. A little Ronaldo Neymar move over there.
Oh, this is sad though, because I mean that Widowmine, we see that it definitely got some damage done, but there's like 4 or 5, 6 maybe Dark Templars there with barely any health here.
This stuff ain't cheap though. So ShoWTimE needs to be a little bit careful. We've got a nuke potentially going down on the right side, but he's in range of the cannon, and that makes ShoWTimE's life a little bit easier.
Certainly does. There's 3 nukes at a time being made. Like, oh, Disruptors, are they all left alone? Yes, they are. That is a big, healthy pickup for MilkiCow.
Wow. Wow. Only a single Disruptor left, and that Disruptor does get a decent shot, but it's potentially going to go down too, and now it's just High Templars, but the Ghost count, Ben, is still at 7. ShoWTimE wants to take out another base on the left side. A couple storms do keep the bio at bay. This command center is probably going to fall. ShoWTimE wants to kill it, but ShoWTimE is going to lose quite a few units here. Somehow the thing is not dead. How did it not die?
I have no idea. It was actually morphing into a PF right there. That was awesome. But yeah, so MilkiCow, he only just finished his advanced ballistics. I made sure I got the name right before I got criticized a lot with that one. But yeah, he finishes ballistics there just now. So I think that's a bit of an error getting it so late. But man, he's taken a lot of damage again this game. Now his SV count though is super low, and ShoWTimE is very quick with the pulling. I don't even know if that one was entirely necessary, but ShoWTimE's in a good position and yet again this game.
Yes, but he has been losing more resources, and technically he has not been mining from any base that was supposed to be MilkiCow's base, right? And Oxide is one of these maps where you can feel really rich for a while, until you don't. And then it can start getting real dire to actually get your hands on some of the resources. So I think ShoWTimE would love to start mining either from bottom right or from indeed this base at 9 o'clock. And he's getting on top of the planetary. MilkiCow's army is all the way in the other side of the map. MilkiCow will just let this one die, but that's a big loss. Because yeah, we're still nowhere near maxing out as the Terran.
No, definitely not. And MilkiCow, it's almost like he anticipated an army going up. Oh, that poor Archon, dude. Warping in there as a nuke's going off right on top of him. Oh, no, no.
No! No, MilkiCow, not like this.